Now it's time to add the materials for the lower part. I turned on the reference image. Let's zoom in and take a look at this first. Technically speaking, physically here we have two materials, the polished and the structured plastic. And the structured plastic, the part geometry-wise also has these holes cut in. Now these holes we could actually model if we want to be crazy, or we could use a Boolean modifier. We model this pattern, rotate it, wrap it around and cut it out. Works, but is very labor intensive and thus slow. So I will show you actually a much faster technique how to explore these patterns simply via texturing, via using images. Later for manufacturing, then if we like a pattern, then we can just cut these holes more in a precise way. So in computer graphics, what we see here are actually three materials: the glossy, the structured or bumped one, and the bumped plastic with the holes. So let's take a look at the object here. So here we have our separation lines, glossy, structured, holes, structured. Let's go into edit mode. And we see here this perfectly lines up. Here it doesn't, so Control R, click, move a little bit, and there we have now actually the correct loop cut. Because we are not going to use subdivision surface modeling here, everything is meshed fine enough to look smooth. We don't have to worry about adding geometry to distort. So our first task is now we will add a new material. Now we call this plastic glossy. And let's give this a material. Again, it should not be black. We don't have this. Kind of something dark. We can adjust this later anyway. Make this rough. Make the roughness down. Maybe 0.1. So a little bit of roughness is okay. Because 0, it means it's a mathematically polished surface. We don't have this. Specularity, so the reflectivity, we set to 1 for the moment. All these values will be adjusted later a little bit. So this material is now applied to the whole object. So we go to Material, Preview. There we can see how this is applied. Now we would like to make a new material. So click and then New, and we call this one Plastic Bump. Okay. Here we could Control C on the black color, go to here, Control V, paste this in. Roughness 0.3 for the moment. Reflectivity we set to 1, 2. Actually, 0.4 maybe. Again, it's just, I'm playing with extremes, so visually it's very easy to see. But right now we don't really see anything happening. Well, it's because we have two materials, but when we made the first material, that got assigned to all the faces. Now we need to assign this to the rest on the outside. Let's go to wireframe mode, press A, and then you see, oh, there's all this other stuff there too. So the speaker inside here. So what would be the best way? First, what we will do is actually we will separate things a little bit more. In object mode, H to hide this object. Go to top view. Then in object mode, go to shaded, tab, go to edit mode, and then go face select, hold the Alt key and click maybe on these two rings. Good. Now I can see where is the outer border. Then press C, move your mouse wheel till the ring is big enough, click, and now we selected all this inside stuff. Press P, or go to separate selection. This is another piece that's inside. For the moment, we simply take this out. We can always fuse objects together over and over again or separate them. This way it makes it easier for texturing. We also down here have, for example, the speaker. So all this is a membrane. So I select all this with Alt and Shift, click on these vertical edges there, and then C, middle mouse button, scroll a little bit, scroll wheel, I mean, middle mouse button, huh? And then P and separate. Yeah, we're going to put this back together later. Yeah, for the moment, we take this out. This is good. Okay. Then in object mode, select this part and select the top part and H and hide them. So we only have this. Makes it just a lot easier. So in edit mode now, we have all this stuff gone. So when I go in and go to wireframe mode, press B and select over all this, then I could say, hey, you assign this bump material. Look at that. You see now? All this is looking very different. I just realized actually one thing might be good to show too. Alt H. Select this bottom part. Select this, Control J in object mode, or here join. Then this is my piece here now, so this together. In object mode, Shift H. Go to edit mode, click this one. Click plus and then a new material. We say speaker membrane. Membrane, is that spelled correctly? I hope so. And this is Control V, paste this thing in. This is not very reflective, 0.4. Okay, so now, because this is separated, we can press L, and L, you see how it selects all the stuff. And speaker, oh, ha, careful. Oh yeah, no, sorry. It did this correctly. And assign. So let's see when we play with this. Yeah, so this changes. Back to edit mode, press A, and then we will do a mesh and clean up, merge by distance. So we're welding them back together. Okay, see there's a little bit of an interesting shading happening, and that's because it tries to smooth it. Turn this on, and there we are back. So why did I do this? So we want to select through the whole object, and I want to prevent these things being in my way. So when I go to material and select this, so I select the material, that selects in all the mesh, and I can press H, and then actually the mesh is just hidden. Cool thing is, press tab in object mode and the mesh is back. Tab, go into edit mode and the mesh is there. Alt H shows it again. The only thing is, when you in general press Alt H, let's say even here I selected something H and Alt H, it shows it all. So this is the downside of this approach when we hide the mesh inside the body, which is why I, for example, prefer separating the meshes, and it's easier to texture because, as I showed you, I can glue them back together very easily. Very good. Okay. So, let's move forward in object mode. Alt H. What's this one here? Is it this one? Yep. Now we can delete. What? Oh, need to turn this on. Okay, now there. Okay. This one here, all the time I will just hide so I can focus on the other stuff. Pretty cool. So how do we do now this stuff? So the bottom material is kind of done. Into edit mode, then we can hold Alt and select Alt Shift and click on all these edges. That selects all those. That's very easy. So we will do the following. So plastic bump. Isn't that bump with a P? Yeah, I think so. We make a copy. Okay, that's not what I wanted. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I made a copy of this one to here. No, this is, however, this is fine. So here, when we switch this back to bump, click plus, switch bump. There we are. And we can call this one bump holds or bump pattern. It's up to you. To make things maybe easier, we can also here simply drag this one up and then we click assign. And we make this one white. There you see now what's going on. Okay, undo the color change. Very good. So what did I changed something here. One second. I must have changed the color actually, and I didn't undo this correctly. So, assign. There. AA, select, good. Yeah, very good. AA, so deselect, select should be the bottom. Correct AA, glossy is only the top. Correct AA, membrane, select. Ah, interesting. So there, chuck. This got a little bit confused. It's okay, this happens. This way I can show you how to fix these problems. So assign this AA, select, yeah, but you too, you can beat that one. Oh, yeah, it was the wrong material that got assigned to there. Oh yeah, we only have this one here with random. Oh, interesting. Yeah, it's random color, random material. Yeah, I thought actually maybe with random it would even give the materials different random color. It does not. Well, that's good to know. It only gives random objects a color. So we stay there. Good. So pretty much we're halfway there. So now we would like to project this texture on it. To do this in edit mode, edge select, select this, and control one. We don't really have a line here. That means then I will simply use this one. Or if I go to the side, 3, yeah, I see here, there I have this line. Yeah, let's try that. C middle mouse button. So I paint over it. Go to a side view and then simply adding this to there. Honestly, what I'm doing is really being super picky. You can just keep the back part, but this will be now here at the side. Okay, so why did I do this? With all this selected, edge mark seam. Then press L, everything is selected, U and unwrap. Okay, let's go to here and there, UV editor, shader editor. Okay, so there's our unwrapped stuff. Technically speaking, this is actually quite accurate because this is a cylinder that is tapered, so it's not going to be a perfect cylinder. But my problem is when I go open texture and use maybe here vertical, well, my image is rectangular, but this unwrapped stuff is not. So I need to do a little bit of a trick here. So press U. Because this is a cylindrical shape, I will simply say cylinder. Bang. There we are. And wow, this is terrible. How did this happen? Ah, interesting. You have to be on a different view. Wow, I did not know that. Okay, front view. Project. Maybe it makes sense. Maybe it does not make sense, but kind of makes sense. So you're orthographically in the front, and it's kind of like a lathe tool. Cylindrical unwrapping, yeah, unfolding. Cool. Okay, so now we have this pattern. In the UV editor, press A and S, and we just scale this one up till it gets really, really close to the end. We want actually the scaling to snap to even the corners. You see with the pixels turned on, it snaps to the pixels. What's down there? Very good. So here now, this I would like to bring in. So add texture image. And there's the pattern. I will put this one into base for the moment. Can we see this actually? Interesting. Why don't we see this? Toot, 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 toot. Mapping is correct. Hold on 1 second. Color mixer. Ah, yeah, okay. It's there. Good. Yeah, this is fine. So because I need to figure out why in this with the color that should actually have worked instantly. I don't know why, but you see, so we were using the transparency value to mix two colors, and then we can see actually the pattern there. So I will go and see where's my seam. There's my seam. Now you see this red line. And what is now important for me is I want to make sure that we have a nice line up there. So see here what I will do now. G and X, move this over. Okay, so there's the pattern. G and X, line this up. There, very good. Okay, cool. So you see here we have half, full, 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 and there we have half. And this image will be stretched over all the geometry. And this piece then will tile, and then we'll be at the end there. So just so you can see what's happening, I will set my 3D cursor to here. Click this point. In case it's moved, Shift S cursor to selected. A 2D cursor actually now. S and X, and I'm scaling this one down. S and X to there. Okay, cool. Now we can see it's just one time the image was pushed in there. And when I increase the amount, you see how I'm forcing more repetition or increasing the tiling. Well, that's actually how simple this technique works. What's really important is when these textures have to be seamless. So here to here, the edges have to be the same. I'm going to undo everything till I have the original element. And there we are. Cool, no? Okay, very nice. So the texture actually kind of looks good. This was only a little helper. I would like this to be transparent. Okay, here I have my alpha. Alpha means transparency. Put this in there. Then kind of like looks like this. Like the outside of the holes is transparent. That's not what I want. I want the opposite. So I need to invert this image. Okay, there is an invert function for color. Invert, plug it onto it. There. Cool. Okay, maybe I can actually compress more pieces in there. Going to edit mode, S and X, and scale this along the x-axis a little bit more. Very good. And now the last thing to do is go to the material. Be careful that you select the correct material, and blend mode and alpha clipping. Ta-da! Oh, sorry. I wanted to go into object mode, and then we can see through it. And you see how the material blends through. How beautiful, no? Pretty cool. Now you see here, this is actually really close to the end. Down there, this is pretty fine. Let's take a look at the reference. So there's a tiny gap there. See, this pattern actually does not go out to there. So if we want to do something like this, yeah, how do we do this? So they have this one there. Okay, we'll do it this way. Control R, bring this to there. So I just added another loop cut. Control E, mark seam. Click this one. Control E, clear seam. Alt click this. Control E, clear seam. There we are. Then I will go face select. Alt click this edge. Control spacebar, go to materials. So this is just bump and a sign. So we put this one in there, very nice. And now I select this face, L, it selects all the material. I have to unwrap this one more time with the correct height. So, or no, actually, yeah, I have to U, unwrap cylinder, there we are. And then change this to this. Scale, scale, scale. We connect this to this corner. There, and then I press S. Well, we want to scale actually from the 2D cursor. You see, then it's very easy to do this. Okay, much better. We have way too many of these elements in there. So S and X, and we decrease this. Very good. So this part is actually finished. In the next video, then I show you how we can swap the material out and do all the additional stuff.